Hello everyone and welcome to week 9 of Enter the Flow. Alright, so there were a couple of questions this week which require some demonstration, and I will do that now. So one of the questions was about lifting the leg and extending it to the side, and specific details about that. And so I will demonstrate some things with this. And the thing is though, there's not necessarily a right or a wrong way to do this. The point is to explore the movement, definitely to develop the balance, because this is going to be really useful for you in having lightness and balance within your movements and all your other movements. But not necessarily a specific way that you need to do this, rather than just to explore it. But a few details about that. So when we lift our leg and extend to the side, one question was, where is the best place for our arms? There's so many different places you can put them. It's not that there needs to be one. You could have them on your waist as you extend. You could also extend them in the same direction as your leg. You could potentially extend them in the opposite direction, and so on. There's really not a specific place that your arms need to be. Another question was about placement of the foot. Now again, there's not a specific way it needs to be, but extending the foot in different ways will have slightly different effects on you. If you extend the foot with the ball pointing, so with the ball pointing out, the toes pointing out like this, extending to the side, it's going to create more extension and lengthening through the front of your body. If you extend the foot with the heel out, it's going to extend and lengthen through the back of the body. So there's going to be a slightly difference in what it does to me if I extend like this, or if I extend like this. A lot of people have challenges with compressing too much through the back of their body. So for a lot of people, it's really useful to focus on extending the heel. So another question I think was about essentially whether the foot is orientated this way or this way. So again, if you extend with your foot this way versus extending with your foot this way, having your foot out this way is going to tend to open through the front of the hips more. It's not going to lengthen through the back as much. Which way should you do it? Any and all of those ways, to explore it and to become more skillful at being balanced and more skillful at allowing the energy to flow without tension as you move in different directions. Okay, so that's one thing. I hope you don't see that as a non-answer, but an exploration of it, because we really are not aiming to be confined by rigid rules within this. Yes, there are going to be principles of how moving in different ways stimulates some parts more than others, but our aim is to explore that and to let the energy flow freely. The other question was about discharging excess or built up energy. Now, again, as I mentioned in the written answer, there's a number of different ways that we can do this, and it can form part of many different exercises. A couple of just really simple ones that you possibly could use without going into too many details. So when we hold energy or block it, it tends to lift within our body. It tends to lift and draw in and up, and this is where it tends to become blocked. So often to release the energy, it's going to involve a downwards movement to help release it and clear it out. But often prior to that, it's going to have a further lift up to make it easier to drop and descend the energy down afterwards. So one very, very simple one like this is if you stand shoulders apart and breathe in, coming up onto the balls of your feet, lifting your shoulders and tensing all your muscles, and then let your breath out all one go as you drop down onto your heels. So again, breathe in, lift up. Breathe out. The lift helps to lift that energy even higher so that when you drop, you're able to descend and let it through much more easily. So that's one simple one. Another one which is a bit more vigorous and I think I may have referred to in answer to a previous question, is at the end of the Waking the Chi series of exercises, and it's where we've had our hands up and we've been stomping with our feet, which can be very useful as well, and then we do a sudden, one big sudden breath out and move them down with our arms, and we can repeat this several times. So we lift our hands, breathe out, lift our hands, breathe out, and again we're creating this sudden dropping of the energy which helps it to wash through and discharge into the earth, which is one easy way that we can get rid of excess built up energy. Now in that series as well, that's just the last of a whole series of movements. Within that series, we actually gradually raise the energy, raise the energy, raise the energy before descending it down. So you can practice this movement by itself, and it's great, but you'll find that it's even more effective if you've done the other movements and exercises prior to it. You're going to get a much better downwash of energy. So yeah, I highly recommend that you have a look at the Waking the Chi series on the website if you're interested in that. Okay, so hopefully that's useful to you, and this week we're moving on to freestyle Qigong. So some of you have already started to be exploring this a little bit. It may help you for reference to refer to those excerpts from the Enter the Flow book that I sent out in one of the previous week's emails to understand a little bit more about how to get more value from freestyle Qigong practice. Because the aim here is to let go of preconceptions, to use the skills of energy awareness that you've built by working on different movements, working on rise and fall, stirring the mist, swimming dragon, playing with a ball, float and soar from the past week, so you have the skill of moving and maintaining energy awareness, and then play with that. Within that play you can explore many different things. So probably rather than talking about that too much now, yeah, I encourage you to look at those notes that were in the excerpt from the book, which I sent out as an attachment in a previous email. So a lot of people feel quite self-conscious about this. It's a funny thing that we can feel, even if we're by ourselves, we can feel self-conscious about how we look moving, you know, and it's actually a really learning thing to be able to get past that and to embrace what we're doing without being concerned about how we look, you know, even when no one's looking. So hopefully you're going to enjoy this practice. When you get it, you can have some of your most magical Qigong moments doing freestyle Qigong, because it's about your own exploration, working the energy, with finding the things specifically within you that are going to help you. So I hope you enjoy your practice this week, and as usual I look forward to hearing from you at the end of the week with your progress reports and any questions that you may have.